Hello and welcome to turn 2 of GMT's Fields of Fire 2 Peleliu Inshore Assault game by Ben Hull. We start off the turn in usual fashion. We have one VOF marker here, so we are in contact with the enemy, and we'll be pushing through another set of LVTs into the surf, and from the surf onto the beach this turn. First thing we do though is the Battalion HQ activation check, which we do with a card. You will know I actually moved the cards from one side to the other. This is because I'm left-handed and I was reaching across on the first turn, and it was a bit awkward, so we'll have them on the left now. So let's pick up the card for the battalion check, and let's have a look. What we're looking for here is a little HQ radio symbol here, and there isn't one, so there is no effect. We then move on to the command phase, in which we will draw for activation of the CO HQ. And we'll do that now. We have a 3 +1 because it's a veteran, but there's no +1 anymore for no contact, so we have 4 commands. So over here, if we look over, and in fact I'll move the camera across because that's where we'll be focusing on for this part of the turn. Here we go. So we have the COHQ, which is here currently with 1 spare. So adding 4, we get to 5, and we'll flip him over. We'll also flip the others over because they are available now on turn 2. And so pretty much what we're going to be doing is handing out orders again to activate other HQs from the CO. I think we have first platoon on 6 commands at the moment. Maximum save first platoon is actually 6, so he doesn't really need any more. We'll focus on the 2nd and 3rd platoons here. The mortar section for 3. And the machine gun platoon is veteran, so certainly him. Maybe 2nd platoon we don't, because he's at maximum of 3 because he's green. So mortar section, 3rd platoon, MG platoon. So we'll move down 3 and we'll complete the COHQ. So let's draw the command draws for the MG platoon first, which we have a 4. The MG platoon is a veteran, so that's actually a 5. We're not going to do anything with them, but 5 on the MG platoon will get us to 8, which gives us a lot of orders to bank. We can only bank 9. But that'll be it for the MG platoon. Next is 3rd platoon. We have a 3. 3rd platoon HQ is green, so that's actually a 2. 3rd platoon can only get to 3 for saving, so we'll do that. We'll save 3 now. And the mortar section is the other one. So the mortar section is green, is a 6, -1 is 5. Again, the mortar section, because it's green, can only really go up to 3. So those were the 3 activations. We then end up in the initiative subsegment, Actually what we do is we will give one command to each of the sergeants and the XO. So we have first platoon and second platoon to draw for their initiative. It's on the little number, and sorry, that was the first platoon. It's a 3 going up to a 4, but we can only, I believe, save 1, so we'll end up on 6. And second platoon, which is green, nice card again, 6 going down to a 5. The second platoon can't go anywhere, so we'll just flip him over. So we're getting close to maximum here for everybody except for the staff. That's all that requires orders from now on. Nothing can be spent because nothing's on the board, so that ends our command phase. The other thing we will do on the command phase is we will activate the LVTs. Now they're on a schedule, and I will move the LVTs over that are coming in with their contents ready and mark them with activation markers along with the ones that are currently in the surf. There we go. And we'll use our activation markers here, drop them on. Need a few more of those. Right. Then there's the general impulse, which we'll use the card for, which would have been a 3 unmodified, and we can't really do anything with those, so they're just left. Now, we've finished our command phase, zipping through the turn. We're on to the enemy's higher HQ activity, so we'll check for that HQ symbol again, and as you can see, we don't get it. So nothing from the enemy HQ. Activity checks for the enemy, we have only a VOF marker, so there's not actually any units to activate here. That's all we need to do on that point. We then move on to the retreat and capture phase, and none of that is relevant at the moment, so we can skip that. And we're down to the mutual vehicle aircraft phase. So this is where the LVTs are going to move, and so we will do that. It's done one by one, and again backwards and forwards with the enemy, but we've only got them ourselves. So what we'll be doing is we will be moving these current activated units up and flipping them round with the move fired marker. Now, with regards to this LVT here, when it attempts to move out the card, it suffers what's known as reaction fire in the vehicle phase, so it effectively gets attacked by that VOF marker. So we need to resolve that as we're moving off. It's on an automatic program, so it will go to that spot, but we need to do what's known as the AT combat, the anti-tank combat there, which is done on all vehicles. So this is the anti-tank combat resolution chart here. You see if we can get to see the whole thing here in a reasonable focus. I think I might turn the lights up to get a better effect on the camera. And that looks a bit better. Okay, so we need to calculate the anti-tank modifier, which is the gunnery modifier of the attacking unit. So that's the value of the VOF marker, which, as you'll remember, hopefully, is a -1. Slowly trying to fight the focus. There we go. We have the -1 in the circle. So we start off with a modifier of -1. and then we provide cover and concealment modifiers for the terrain card. So what we have here is a +1 for artillery fire. So that's a +1 to cancel out the -1. We're currently on a 0. Any move or fire modifiers if applicable, and including the following that apply. So what we have here is the target is moving, is the second from bottom on the right hand side. That's there. So that gives us another +1. And there's one modifier I missed, which is way up here on defensive value of the defending unit. Now looking on the chart of vehicles that comes with the game, an LVT is a -1 defensive value. So we, going through all that, the gunnery modifier of -1, the cover and concealment of +1, the target is moving +1, and the defensive fire value, the defensive value of the unit is -1, comes out as a flat 0. So we're actually going to be pulling cards, or a card for this this unit, and it's going to be no modifier. So let's zoom out a little here, and let's pick up a card, and we're looking for the AT modifier. Oh, and again, always appears at a particular moment, which is critical. So let's reshuffle the action deck. And here we are back with a shuffle deck. So we were looking at an AT combat draw with a 0 modifier. And we get an AT of 7. So 0 plus 7 is 7. Now the AT usually ranges from 0 up to, I think, 9. So 7's actually quite a good card. Again, the lower it is, the worse it is. If we go back and look at our anti-tank combat resolution, then we look at the card here. We cross-reference the final sum, which is a 7, and we're on a 6 or more, which is a miss. So there is no effect on the LVT. Essentially, we're looking at 6 or more. Hopefully, anything less than that, and things start to go wrong. So yeah, we got a miss there, which is again adding to our fortune that we had on turn 1 with very few potential contacts. So I'm sure it'll get back to bite us, but we'll see. So this stack is able to move onto the beach there. So we have all 4 of the units on the beach. Now one thing it is programmed to do, and you can do at the end of your move, is that you can disembark troops. So in each of these cases, we move the LVT off the move fired marker, and now the platoon here is now outside the vehicle. Of course, anything that moves in this game, unless it infiltrates, gets a exposed marker. So we place one on top of that, and we do that for all the various LVT passengers. I just flip that over. It's now moved and fired. So we now have troops on the beach, and to my great surprise, they're currently untouched, but that's not going to last for long. Well, it shouldn't last for long. If I lock holes, maybe it will, but not in my experience. Right, and then we are now also moving the LVTs that are coming into the surf zone now. So we move these on, and they're of course going to meet these potential contact potential contact. B markers in the potential contact resolution evaluation phase, except for the one I just did, which is here. Now, at the end of the vehicle turn, any VOF markers on the same card as a vehicle will be used against that vehicle. So this LVT here on the third card will suffer the same fire that the first one did on that card. So it's exactly the same situation. We have a modifier of 0, so all we do is we draw a card and look at the AT value. So we have an AT value of 5 there, you can see in the bottom right hand corner, and on 5 we get a pinned result. Okay, so with a pinned result we take a pinned marker and place it onto the vehicle. Essentially it's stuck. Now that kind of means it's not going to move further in the turn, but of course it never was anyway. But the pin marker will stop it moving next turn as well. So it's been delayed and could have been a lot worse. So hey, if we only have the pin marker for that, then we're doing quite well. So that concludes the vehicle phase. We are now into the combat phase. And the first thing we do is we remove any incoming markers. So that artillery barrage lifts. And now we have to look at the potential contact markers now. Now we have 8 of them now, 4 A's, 4 B's. Oh, that looks like a C. We've got them the wrong way around. And we will need to randomly check each of these. So we're back to a lot of card picking, I think. So the first thing is check the randomizer. So we have 8 spots possible, 1 to 4 on the top, and then 5 to 8 on the bottom. And let's look at the randomizer. The randomizer is 8, so 8 on 8. So it's this guy over here. So potential contact, we have no VOF markers on anymore, so this actually switches back to no contact, which is interesting. So when we actually look at our card, as we did last turn, with a B marker on no contact, it's automatic, so there is a result, and all we do is check what it is. So let's pick up the card, and it's on a 10 column of the randomizer, and we have 6. So let's have a look at the 6th column on the potential contacts for this scenario, and we are in row 1, and a 6 is number 2. And I believe that's the same one as we had last turn. Pretty sure that's what we had, which was an incoming. Yeah. That's an incoming artillery fire. It's a -4 for personnel, but it's a -1 for vehicles, which is what we really are interested in. So that's removed. We have an incoming fire, VOF applied, and then we move on. We now have 7 spots available. On the 7 randomizer we have number 6, so number 6 is here. Now we have contact, and it's amazing the amount of times I forget to change that when things happen. The change is is immediate to whatever the situation changes. We have contact because we have now a VOF marker. So with contact on the B, we have a draw of 5. So let's draw 5 cards and see if contact comes up. Okay, so the cards we have are a rally, another rally. This sounds quite familiar. Number 3. It's a 3 rallies. Wow. I am shuffling this on honestly. A cover, and on the last card, a blank. So nothing. A bit like last turn. So that potential contact marker is removed, and we keep checking. So we now have 6 spots available, and looking on the 6, we have number 6. So we're resolving the serve zone ones first, which is possibly advantageous as the A's more likely to happen. I'm not sure there. So anyway, on 7 here, we will draw 5 cards. And we have a blank, a blank, a rally again, and again. Wow, are we going to be lucky at even more? And a cover. So yeah, no contacts. There is actually quite a lot of contacts cards in this deck. We just don't seem to be able to find them. So that was this, and we're left with 5. 5 spots, and on 5 we check number 5, so that will be all the surf zone. And we're on 5 cards again. And we have, here we go, contact. Now we do check all the other cards, even though they're effectively irrelevant, and I'll turn them all over. There was another contact there as well, right here. So we have a contact, and we will then draw to see what it is on the randomizer at the 10 level. And we have another 6, which is yet another artillery. And here we go. So we're left with our 4 beach zones here. These are going to be a lot more relevant because we actually have troops on here which will suffer the VOF if a VOF appears on these cards, and they're exposed as well. So these could be quite nasty. We are on our rate here, I believe, has moved on. So our current state is, let me just check the relevant card. I believe we are now on engaged. If we look on the potential contact card here, engaged 2+ friendly occupied cards are under VOF markers. So we're now on the engaged column. So that changes to engaged. So looking on that card, we're now looking at potential contact A's, and for engaged, it's a 5-card draw. I'll just point it out here. Hopefully you can see it through the variable focusing that's going on here. 5. So, but which one do we do first? We have 4 spots, 1 to 4, left to right, and we do number 1. So that's this one here, and we draw 5 cards. And we have a rally, another rally, another rally. Didn't know there were so many in the deck. We have a contact, and finally a blank. So the 1 contact is enough. So we're looking at a VOF marker of some kind. So let's look at the chart. However, we should be looking at different column here. So if I show you the chart here, we're now on row 2, not row 1. That's the beach. This is the surf. So we're on that. So as you can see, there are different numbers there, and let's see what what it is. And it is a 2. Looking on the chart, a 2 is a number 1, which is another incoming Modifier, so it's only -3 to personnel. So we need to mark that if we can. So as I mentioned before, the incoming doesn't have a personnel VOF file marker because it could be, well, anything. At the moment there could be -4s, which are the artillery, or -3s, which are the mortar. So to differentiate, what we've currently got at the moment are 2 -4s. They're not particularly relevant because all the infantry are in the vehicles. But to actually show a difference here, I'm going to actually use the airstrike marker, which is this one here. It's basically the same, except it's got airstrike written on it. So, and it's not -3, it should be -1, but I'm just using that marker as a differential, and it's on this card. Right, so we will remove that potential contact, and we will reach, well, check on the other 3 on a randomizer. So with the 3 we have a value of 2, so it's the guy in the middle, this chap here, and we now have 3 VOF markers, but we do not move it up again. So if you look, we go from engaged to heavily engaged. One card has both enemy and friendly units on it. We don't have that, so we never get off engaged. So we're stuck on engaged and we're on A marker, so we're still 5 card draws here. So for the middle beach, 5 cards, and we have nothing, nothing again, a cover, a rally. Are we going to be lucky here? And a blank. So yeah, we don't get anything. So that marker is removed. Phew. I think we've been quite fortunate here. We have had 3 results here out of 8, but you know, there's a decent chance of having a lot more than that. So we have this beach and this beach left, the potential contact markers. So let's check on which one we check first. On the randomizer, whoops. On the 2 chart, it's a 2, so it's the one on the right here. And it'll be our good old 5 cards again. And we have quite a bit of suspense here, revealing them one by one. And there we go. Yeah, done. So reveal all the others for what it's worth. Rally, 2 rallies, a cover, and a blank. So that was the only contact. But 1 is enough. So this chap here, we need to check, and we're on the 2nd chart, row 2 chart. And for the 10 randomizer, we have an 8. Sounds interesting. And on our chart here, number 8 is package 7. Let's have a look at package 7. So package 7 is a machine gun bunker. I'll show you what it looks like on the chart here. Number 7 is a machine gun bunker there. 1 heavy machine gun in a bunker, so it's a heavy machine gun team. It's not spotted, so it's hidden, and it's at max range or line of sight for placement. Sorry, that's where it is there. Max range and LOS. Now we also need to work out a direction. So this is a further card draw, and we look on the unit placement chart for this scenario. And we're on column 2, so it's on here. So we check for randomization on 5 to see whereabouts it is, and we're on a reshuffle. I'll just do that. Right, fresh deck. So yeah, we have to check for placement, and a randomizer of 5 is 5. So looking on our chart here, we get that chart. Randomizer is 5, on column 2 is right front. Okay, so right front would result in, it was this guy, wasn't it? So right front, we can't actually have a right front because we can't in this scenario extend the boundaries. Normally you would for enemy placement, but not apparently in this scenario. So we need to redraw if we can't fulfill what it is. So let's have a look again. Is a 3, and a 3 is actually the front. So let's focus in on here. So off this card, in front of it, we have these dunes, and these dunes block LOS. That's the green border here. So the maximum LOS range on the board here to that card is actually on that dunes card. So we will place the HMG unit with a bunker, and I'll just do that. Okay, so that's those counters placed. Just zoom in to show you them. So just looking at them, the HMG, it's an automatic weapons fire unit. It's a team, and it has very long range. So very long range is up to 3 cards distant, but it will be shooting only 1 card. It will be the local one. Just looking at the bunker here, it's an interesting terrain here. So it has a capacity of 4 steps. That's what the, if I see, there we go. It has a capacity of 4 steps. It has a +3 protection. However, it has an arrow on it, and that arrow is its firing direction, and that's the only direction it can fire on. Also, with bunkers, is if there's an activity for the units in the bunkers to do something which isn't just firing, is actually doing something like make a grenade attack or fall back or something, they will exit the bunker onto the card. But the bunker itself will sit there and will only fire in that one direction. So bunkers can be outflanked quite easily, but they're a tough nut to crack when you're just doing standard firing, because there's a +3 in addition to the terrain value of the card as well, which in here is +1. So let's put that down, and we'll put it on top of the HMG. The result of this is that we have an automatic weapons fire volume of fire on this beach hex here. Let's zoom out to get both of the cards going, and we also put in a primary direction of fire marker between the cards there, so we know that fire is coming into this card and it's an automatic weapons level. We can remove that potential contact marker now because we've resolved it. The final thing we do though is we actually don't remove that potential contact marker. What we do is we flip it over to its question mark side. Now usually this is used in the game when you don't know what level you have until you encounter it. However, what you can also use it for is to cover a unit that is hidden. So we can't actually fire at that unit because we don't know where it is. We know the direction of fire that's coming through, but we know it's somewhere on that card, but we can't actually see the unit. Nobody can open fire on it. We have to spot it. So spotting is an action. It's something that has to be ordered or done under initiative. But at the moment we can't actually retaliate to it at all. So all we have is an automatic weapons fire here on the card, which, because it's the coming combat phase, will affect the units, but not the vehicle for the moment. Right, we still haven't got units on the same card, so we're still engaged, and we're left with the potential contact marker here, which we can check, and that will be 5 cards again because they're A's. You should be able to see now the difference between B's and A's now is that A's cause a lot of contacts. But of course we've been quite lucky here. Let's have a look at these then. So a blank, a cover, Aha, a contact. They're all coming through now. A rally and a rally. So we had one contact there, so we again need to check what is there. We're on the second card and we do a randomizer on the 10 column. Find out what it is. Come on. We're not getting very good focus here for this one. There we go. It's a 2. And a 2 on the chart, I'll save flapping around with the rule book, is a 1, which is our mortar VOF marker. So we'll just place another one of those, but remember I'm using the airstrike marker to be a differential, and I just need to find one of those. And here we go. That's there, and we remove the potential contact marker. So all these artillery strikes, mortar strikes here, they're all for the 1 turn. This chap up here though is here to stay unless we kill him or he runs away. So they're going to be pinned down on the beach there. Now we've done the contact markers, we need to resolve them for infantry in the VOF effects segment. And again, we ignore the vehicles because that happens in their phase, so it's only the infantry. That means that we've got these 3 spots to check. And again, as normal, we'll check on a randomizer which one to do first. Not strictly necessary at this point, but it's good to get into the habit of randomizing things. So 3 spots and it's number 3. So our real problem guy here is the HMG fire in. Now one thing I like to do is also enter the details of the enemy in the mission log. That's in, let's flip the piece of paper around, that's here, down here. So I'll just do that anyway off camera and then we can crack on. It's useful so you can tell what ammo they have left, etc. And it's a good record anyway. Okay, I've done that. So we have the first HMG team, experienced line, and it has Gulp 6 ammunition. It can fire for 6 turns before running out of ammo. That's also a way of getting rid of the team. If you, well, potentially getting rid of the team is for it to run out of ammo. But 6 turns is a hell of a lot. Right. So now we resolve this this combat here. So we have a VOF of -1. We have a terrain of +1, and we have an exposed marker which is -2. So that pretty much comes out as -2 on the chart. There's no other modifiers to deal with there. Nothing special going on there. So we turn over a card for the squad, and usually we turn over a card for all the units of a particular hit number. So all the ones that are -2. But there's just one squad here. So let's turn this over and let's see what we get. -2, if you can see here, is a hit. So that squad has been hit by the machine gun. And then we draw another card to see what's known as the hit effect. So let's have a look at that. It's the second squad. Just look at it. Second squad of 3rd platoon here. You can see at the top of the counter. If I get close enough. Come on. It really doesn't want to play, but believe me, it's the second squad. And the second squads on all the platoons are in line. So we look on the hit effect chart here on the line part, and we get L and C. So the first step casualty is an L, and the second one is a C. L is litter team, and C is casualty. Now if we only had a team, as in one step, we would only take the first letter, but as we've got a full squad here, we take both. So two of the steps of that squad turn into a litter team and a casualty, and then everybody is pinned. So that's not a nice result at all. Right, so as we see here, we are going to remove this counter, the squad counter. If it loses a step, we can move it back to the 3-step version, but we lost 2 steps here, so we replace it with this counter, which only has a fire team on the back, but this has 2 steps left of the second platoon, second squad of the 3rd platoon. So we have this and the litter team, which was the L result, and we need to stack that back onto the card, and we have the casualty as well, which is now out of the fight completely. So we'll put those, zoom out, let's put those onto the card here. So the smoke grenade can still be owned by the remains of the squad. We have the litter team and we have the casualty. So what I like to do is put the litter team on top. The whole stack, the casualty doesn't matter, but the rest of the stack is now pinned, which is on the back of the exposed counter. Nicely convenient. And we're done on that. So some casualties there taken, and I'll mark that up on the mission log. So we have our 2 remaining Modifier incoming VOS to do. So we'll check which one to move first, which one will resolve first, sorry. And on the 2 chart we have a 1. So this one first, and the volume of fire for Modifier is actually a -3. We have a +1 for the terrain, but then we have a -2 for being exposed. So -3, -5, -4. The chart only goes up to -4, so we're going to have to wish for a very lucky card to survive not being hit. But let's try that anyway, see what we get. And a -4 is a hit, of course. There we draw another card, and these are the second squad of the 1st platoon, which are again line. Look at the hit effect on this next card, and we have PC. So P is paralysed, C is casualty. So very much like the other result there, we've lost 1 step completely, and 1 step is paralysed. So I'll just reorganise that. So as before, we take our 4-step unit away and replace it with our 2-step unit, a paralysed and a casualty, and we'll put those on the card. And again, they are all pinned. Right, that's resolved. And now finally to this one. So again, we have a -3, +1, -2. So on the main -4 chart again, brace for impact. And again, we have a hit. So then let's have a look and see the hit effect. And again, they're line. And that's just an L. So there's only 1 result, so there's only 1 team affected within the squad. So that means that the squad will flip over to the 3-step side, and we will add a litter team. And of course they are all pinned. So I'm not sure whether to say all in all that was quite good. we haven't suffered too many casualties, just the two. We have pinned and paralysed and litter teams, and we have a pinned LVT back on the surf here, but that's not too bad, I suppose. I'll take that quite happily. And so once we've done the combat, we are at the end of the turn for cleanup. So we just remove the relevant counters, and that's it. So I will do that off camera, yeah, that's the turn for us. And so let's roll on to turn 3. Hope you'll join me for that, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.